This time on PowerDrift, we go on a fact-finding mission to see if the new Mahindra Thar can be your next daily.
And if it's good enough to be considered by everyone or anyone. By anyone, I mean anyone. Your mother, my wife. Well, let's just cue the non-copyrighted music. Okay everyone, so sorry that the Thar film took so long, but here we are. Now I'm sure you will relate to the fact that it is so tough to convince your entire family to buy that one car that you have your heart set on.
Rohan has a point. A simple way to get around that problem, show them some PowerDrift videos.
Yeah, sure, you could show them some PowerDrift videos. It is a fact all over the world, it's one thing to buy a car, but a whole different ball game to get your wife to like the car that you bought.
And then there are cars that they would never approve of, like this one. But today, there are cars that make the impossible task of convincing your wife easy, like this one.
Put the pedal to the floor, let's go!
That's just a claim until verified. So, welcome to PowerDrift. I'm driving.
Shotgun. And you know what? I'm just, for the sake of everyone's clarity, I think I'm just going to explain what I mean by a daily driver. We're going to take it through traffic, through potholes. We're going to see if the visibility is fine.
Daily drive is also something that your mom or wife can drive, your family members can drive. So that and a lot more. On a very big road like this, I can't imagine the sight or the spectacle that others are having because they're having to look at us either in the rear view mirror or from the side, from the back. Basically, the Thar is looking good in all directions.
It's grown exponentially from the previous Thar, obviously, much bigger. The design, the chassis, the engines, that's right, there are two of them now.
By the way, the petrol engine, it makes more power and makes the same amount of torque as the diesel engine. So that's just a funny part.
And the gearboxes, everything has been made from scratch by Mahindra.
I like the way you summed it up at the end. The sound of made from scratch by Mahindra.
I worked on that line.
If my mom or if my wife needs to be driving this, then I'm keen to find out today as to how the steering feel is. I was hoping that the steering wheel would be nothing like how it was on the old Thar. The old Thar, it excelled at low speeds, but then as soon as you got up to cruising speeds, it was not enjoyable at all. So the steering effort is much less now, of course. It's a ladder on frame car, so there's enough amount of feedback coming from what's underneath you. My point is, I don't want the steering to be doing anything more than what it currently is doing.
Well, honestly, one of the biggest things I was looking forward to was the suspension setup, because that's changed as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for that, they put a double wishbone up front, there's a multi-link live axle at the rear, and yeah, there's no more of that agricultural leaf spring nonsense you can see on that truck over there.
Oh yeah, and basically what all of this means in English, in theory, is that this car now should be a lot more easy going on smooth flowing roads roads like
As in, like a sophisticated ride quality?
yeah, like we are having right now. And there are a few things that I was looking out for in the new car. Like for example, I wanted everyone to clear out from my way as soon as I approached them.
The road presence.
The road presence, yeah. And then of course, that guy, sir. Oh man.
Hello. Of who? Me? You? PowerDrift?
Of the Thar. Thank you, sir. What were you saying?
What I was saying was, can you imagine the task of the designers who had to redesign that? Something as legendary as that. But, I think they've done a good job. It's not really something so evolved and mature that it just alienates loyalists. But it's mature and evolved enough.
And if it looks like a Wrangler, it's a good thing,
That's a
right?
good-
Who doesn't
Who
like,
doesn't
a good
like an
looking car?
international car, right? But not a fan of the vertical grille, man. The designers could have spent a little more time on it, right?
I wasn't expecting you, but can pulley shift do that job?
Easy, that and a lot more. I've got something for you guys, I'll be right back.
I wasn't expecting you.
I'm really bowled over by the way the new Thar looks the first time I'm checking it out. Right? So if you're going to buy this thing as your daily driver, you will have to haul some luggage from time to time. And so I have some luggage and self-portrait.
It's like you're shifting a house.
I just wanted to do a little luggage test and see how much of it I could actually cram in there. These guys kept going on and on about me shifting houses, but that stuff was just for the weekend.
So, let me get this straight. One second. You're going to plan to put all of this into all of that. Really?
I know it's a tight fit.
Okay, even if I do this, if you want the rear seats go down and liberate a bit more space by just pulling a few tacks in the front,
How about that?
that should
So
help.
Mahindra was thinking.
Mahindra was thinking.
Oh yeah.
Auto Ninja self-portrait.
But honestly, it's not really flat.
So the way the tailgate, if we may call it, tailgates in this case, because there are two, they open up like this.
Yeah, the split rear look kind of cool.
Yeah, it would only be useful if you have a dog inside.
And my dog would definitely enjoy it, but I don't know how practical that would be. This totally safe.
Yeah. Let's have him on the journey, yeah?
Let's have him on the
Let's
journey.
go.
Yeah.
I'm not driving anymore. I'll be in the back seat.
What back seat?
His luggage, we throw it out.
You're buying me new luggage.
Rohit entered our journey. We realized that the back seat, no, the boot of the all-new Thar, it's not really going to be adequate if you want to do airport runs, drop someone off with their luggage. But grocery shopping is going to be very doable. And as I'm about to find out right now, have you noticed? It's a two-door. If you want to get into the back seat, it's going to be a lot of pain. Let's find out.
And getting in is a little difficult. So see, this thing has two doors. It's quite difficult to get in. So if you think about it and squint your eyes a little, this is basically a sports car. Guys, I'm quite bowled over by how far Mahindra has come with the interiors of the Thar. And who would have thought that there would be a factory fitted touchscreen in a Mahindra Thar?
I mean, my wife would have thought of it because that's what she's always wanted, and now she's got one. Oh, by the way, guys, a few years ago when I was traveling from Pune to Mumbai in the old Thar, the whole experience was very different. The wind noise, it felt like my own personal hurricane. The tire noise was like a friend who wouldn't like to shut up. Here we can actually have a conversation.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you a story about the Thar that I had back in the day, which was my daily. I used to call him Ganesh, don't ask why. But my biggest issue was knowing that I was well and truly one of the slowest people on a smooth and winding highway like this one. And there was nothing I could do about it. Imagine the same car that breezed its way through thick mud and sludge would be baffled at the idea of going through thin air at 100 kmph. Think about it.
I'm baffled by what you said. Why did you call your car Ganesh?
One great thing about this vehicle is that Mahindra has finally acknowledged the fact that some of us do listen to music. Some of us. And that is why they've given us Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so that is that. Or you could
name for this entire shoot is Interruptus Maximus.
I just want to convince my wife about this car. I think it's got everything. Sorry, you go on, but that's the point, yeah.
Alright, thank you, Interruptus.
Hey, now who's interrupting? Is it me, Mr. Tunnelitus?
Yeah, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So yeah, that's music taken care of, and that is also navigation taken care of, which you will need in a Thar. Also, one more thing, Mahindra has done something really cool over here. It has power windows to begin with, and the buttons for the power windows are over here, right here in the middle in this center console.
I know why, but you want to tell them why.
You tell them why.
I'll tell them why.
No, I'll tell them why. So because when you go off-road, you take your doors off. And where are you going to put the buttons then?
If you had the buttons on the door and you took the doors off, then you can't take your windows down.
The most obvious reason is that obviously Mahindra thought of this. They were like, it's just cheaper. Okay, since we're talking about stuff we like, I love the fact that Mahindra thought that let's make the dashboard and the touchscreen, which is a very novel factor here, drizzle resistant.
He said drizzle.
I said drizzle. Yep.
What's the joke here about drizzle? I don't get it.
What they mean by drizzle resistant
Yeah.
is you can drop a little bit of water, but just a little.
But why would you need to do that? There is no sunroof here. It's not going to rain inside. And
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, fine. We have a hard top over here, but there are other variants that come with a soft top. So when it rains, water comes in. I think that's how water works.
Which means you'll end up taking a shower, and then you better be drizzle resistant.
Yes.
Was that the drizzle joke? So we are in traffic, which is the Thar's nemesis, one could say, or rather the old Thar's was.
The other nemesis actually.
The other
old Thar's
nemesis.
first nemesis was highway.
Oh yes, oh yeah. So yeah, here we are at a long signal.
Speaking of which, I remember exactly how much of a pain the old Thar used to be in traffic. By the way, how's the steering and the clutch in this one? Right now.
Well, the clutch, it does have long travel, but the action is very light. So anyone could drive it once again. Steering, like I said on the highway, there's nothing more that I want the steering to do than what it does here.
And how are the blind spots on this thing? I remember on the old Thar, whole trucks and buses would disappear in that thing.
Whole 747.
Oh man, you wanna know what else made the 747 disappear?
COVID.
Way too soon.
I think visibility wise, it's a pretty good job. But if you crank your neck and try to look out the rear, then there's that spare wheel and the window is too small. So
that's basically 60% of the window
More or
that
less,
gets covered
more or
by
less.
stuff that comes stock in the car.
Six.
You know, that person's checking
5.
us out.
4.
Trying to catch up just to see, like, wait, let me video call one of my friends. छोटा छोटा जमाई छोटा बहुत sexy लग रही है यार छोटा यार छोटा I'm just telling him that this car looks like a big bull.
So far, what we've seen is that the new Thar has excelled over the previous Thar in practically every way. It's great in the city. People love the way it looks.
छोटा यार छोटा.
We love the way it looks. But now, we have one final task which the previous Thar did really badly, and it's going to be a big task because it's grown in every dimension, and that's parking.
All right, let's park. Now, the side view mirrors, they're big. They're not necessarily wide, but they're tall. You will also enjoy the fact that the steering wheel can be rotated from lock to lock even when stand still. Now, when you shift into reverse gear, notice the beep, which tells us that there are reverse parking sensors. In a car like this, you don't necessarily have to listen to them, so I'm just going to go ahead and ignore them and put my wheel onto the curb there, just because I can. So whether you're good at parking or whether you're not good at parking, you can just leave it to the car with the wheel on the curb. Either ways, it's a win-win situation.
So parking sensors and a big curb. He just ignored both of them. Why do I still want to try it?
Okay, what's next?
Los tenis que me echo, donde money in the bank, las mujeres que me tiro, donde money in the bank, los carros que me bajan, donde money in the bank, donde money in the bank, donde money in the bank.
Forget the driver. Here's me in the second row of the Thar, and I am pointed in the right direction. I'm looking forward, I'm not looking sideways. That's a great thing. And have I mentioned already that the new Thar also comes in a petrol automatic version?
Which we do not have right now.
Yeah, which is the one that I'm trying to convince my wife to buy. Automatic, touch screen. You don't sit like you are sitting in a public transport vehicle anymore. You're sitting in your own private family car.
Yeah, the damn fly, man. So, wanna roll down that window for us? Oh, wait a minute, that thing doesn't roll down.
Yeah, that's how I roll. Yeah, I'm fine here in the back, by the way, guys. Not feeling lonely. It just feels to me like the Thar has turned the corner.
We then took a little detour at a twisty bit of road and had a go up and down this bit to test its manners around corners.
Let's just say the body roll was evident. It looked like the tires would give up pretty soon, but then the traction control wouldn't let that happen. Yeah.
The tires and the steering wheel, thankfully they're connected, And unlike the old Thar, you can shoulder corner, and as long as you're not doing stupid, silly speeds, you'll make it around the other side in one piece.
As long as you're not doing silly speeds, yes. But Rohit just managed to completely ignore that.
That was the beginning of a topple.
After that close call, we just figured judging a Thar around corners is like writing with an unsharpened pencil. It's pointless.
So in a sense, what we decided to do was just leave behind those twists and bends, however silly they were, and go on in search of a new location to conclude our quest.
Stormy weather, can't even see where we going. And the rain keeps falling.
All those of you who are sitting on the fence thinking and contemplating whether you can buy the Thar and live with it, I think that answer is or was the pursuit for me all along. The idea was to spend as much time inside the Thar, of course, with your family or friends in this case.
This is what we wanted, or what I wanted at least. A Thar that is good to use every day. Not just a Thar that made you feel alive when the conditions were right or wrong in most cases.
What I absolutely love is that Mahindra has not tried to make the new Thar perfect and ruined it by making it a sedan on stilts. What it has done is basically acquire a whole load more of exactly what you need for something to be your perfect daily driver.
And the results are pretty good. You can live with it, and I think if you are a family of 2, then by all means go ahead and put your money on it. If you're a family of 3, then keep in mind this is a 3-door SUV, and so you might just have to wait until a 5-door variant comes out, which will happen sometime, but not soon.
But the question is still standing. Has the urban Thar ditched its muddy woodlands for Jordans?
Yeah, but that's a story for part 2 of this very adventure, which means that neither are you nor are we done yet with the new Thar. So come back soon, very soon, for slush, mud, low speeds, but great fun.
The rain keeps falling.